Hello, and welcome to our third day of the Parenting Success Week. And today we're going to discuss two topics. The first one, and I think they're very relevant topics to all of us. The first one is juggling work life balance, and the second one is finding strategies. And in fact, I'm going to share one strategy that works really, really well to reduce your parenting guilt because we all have it. You're not the only one. I'm not the only one. We all have it, and there's a reason for that, but we can quiet that guilt. And in relation to juggling work life balance, I must say there's no right or wrong. We make decisions, we do what we can, we do our best every single day, and our best might be 10%, 50%, 80%. It doesn't matter. That's our best that day, and that's what we do. And it's about juggling both so we can have time to work. And it's about how we bring quality time into our work life and how we bring quality time into our life. And it's about finding that balance. There's always going to be one that overweights the other one, but it's about going back down and meeting each other and meeting ourselves and not losing ourselves, not leaving ourselves behind when we are trying to combine both and our family and adding our children and adding, and there's so much pressure and so many things on our plate that we need to juggle, but it's about how to create these small little moments of joy in everything we do, and that's what brings us the balance we need in life. So, to get started, the first thing I would say is keeping things simple. We get carried away by all the things that we see on social media, on other people in the school, our neighbors, friends, family, anybody that we think they're doing more than we do. And it's only what we see that they're doing, it's not what they're actually doing all of the time. But let's say, for example, we plan a trip to Disneyland and we put so much pressure, so much work, so much money, booking time off work, all the expenses, and that creates very high expectations. And very high expectations come to it with a lot of pressure, and that pressure lies on our children. So we expect them to have the best time of their lives and to enjoy it from the second we tell them we're going to Disneyland, and that can be very overwhelming for them. And they might throw a tantrum when we tell them we're going to Disneyland, or after a few minutes or hours when all the excitement goes down. And then we'll feel so frustrated. And then we will blame them because we're spending so much money and time on them, making these big efforts of taking them on a trip to the trip of a lifetime, and they're not enjoying it the way we think they should. And that they don't need that pressure. They really, truly, all they need is simple things. It's also really important that we let our kids get bored. When they say that they're bored, we panic straight away and we try to entertain them in so many different ways, whatever it takes, whether it's with devices or after school activities or play dates or going outside and playing with them and doing arts and crafts and messy play and doing this and doing that. We don't need to do that. Being bored is a feeling. We can feel angry, we can feel frustrated, we can feel excited, we can feel bored, and that's okay. So let's align our expectations with that actual feeling. Being bored, just like being angry, doesn't last forever. If they're feeling bored, that's okay. Being bored, feeling bored is like opening a door with a great opportunity into creativity, imagination, problem solving, self awareness. That's all waiting for them when they open that door. Like many other skills in life, it takes practice, and practice makes perfect. So the more opportunities they have to get bored and also to get out of it, to get out of that feeling, it's an investment, and it's going to be to get quicker and faster and better and easier every single time, and they're going to develop skills that are going to be so important in life for their development into adulthood as well. The next one is devices. It's not about the time children spend on the devices and what they're watching. If it's age appropriate, that's fine. Technology is great and it brings so many opportunities for learning and interacting with the world, but it's only when used at the right time for the right purposes. So I always say use devices for emergencies. If I need to work for an hour, I need to go on a Zoom call, or I need to do make dinner, and I've had such a stressful day and I need to just be on my own, and it's that mindful time for myself while I'm making dinner. I know I need that. That's when devices come in. They can watch telly, they can do whatever they want. I need that space for myself. And using technology there is allowing me to get that time for myself and then regulate myself and become a better mom, the mom they need me to be. But it's not about being on the devices. It's everything that they're missing out on when they're on the device. While they're on the device, they're not interacting with the world. They're not developing skills, they're not moving, they're not thinking, they're not using their imagination, they're not developing fine motor skills by control of their hands, they're not socializing, they're not talking to other people, they're not having communication problems and then thinking how to solve those problems and finding strategies and learning from other people around them, because their brain is switched off. They're just watching TV, and because so many things are happening at the same time and really quickly, their brain is stopped, but it's also going really fast, so it can be very overwhelming, and that can create anxiety, meltdowns, and so many other emotions in their body that then you might not know where they come from, but it's all that's been building up inside their little bodies that then has to come out. And the lack of movement and the lack of stimulation and sensory stimulation and the lack of social skills and relationships, that's all going to come out one way or another. So kids need to move, we all need to move, because our brain is wired to move our body, to get our body to move and to release all that energy and to connect with the world and with the people around us. So it is really important. Our next one is, I just wanted to reassure you that nobody has it all together. Absolutely nobody. That's impossible. And I used to say there's no such thing as perfect parenting. But I started saying whatever you're doing, that is perfect parenting, because I'm trying my best. And once you're trying your best, that is perfect. Parenting guilt often comes up because we think that others have everything figured out. But the truth is that nobody has it all together. Everybody's learning and making mistakes along the way. And it's important that our children can see that we also make mistakes, because we're teaching them. By us making mistakes, they can see how we deal with our mistakes, how we solve them, improve them, how we regulate ourselves. And they also see where you can see, imagine they never see us making a mistake. The day they make a mistake, they're going to feel like they're not good enough. They're the worst person in the world. How dare I making a mistake? My mommy never makes mistakes. She's perfect. And I made a mistake and I'm going to let her down. That's embarrassing. And I'm the worst person in the world. So by them looking at us and saying the real human being that we are we are giving that space, for that safe space for them to feel, to be vulnerable and learn and develop their true self. And just one more, find your tribe. You're not on your own. There's, whether it's a parent and toddler group, any community groups around you, play sessions in the library, baby massage, any baby classes, parents in the school organize a night out or a coffee in the morning or a weekend away or a big play date in the playground. Use the WhatsApp groups, anything, support, understanding, shared experiences, helping you navigate the challenges of parenting with a sense of community. A problem shared is a problem solved, because it's not your own problem anymore. You're going to get a different perspective. And even just by you sharing that problem with other people and putting your thoughts into words, giving it a structure and analyzing what you're saying, it just makes it a lot smaller as well. So always, always, always find your tribe, find the people that make you feel comfortable, free of judgment. And now we have two more things today. First, we're gonna meet Ruth. Ruth is it's been a customer of Discovery Playtime in so many ways, in the shop, the camps, and many other events, workshops with her son. And she's going to talk about how our connection has helped her overcome that parenting guilt and the things she has done to improve that. And then after that testimonial from her, I'm going to give you a few tips on how to say goodbye to your own parenting guilt. Hello, we're here with Ruth today. She's a very long-term customer of my business, Discovery Playtime, and shop, the camps, and everything in between. So, hello, thanks for your time.
Hi, no worries. Thanks for having me.
I'd just like to ask you if there has been anything that I have ever shared, or very specific messages that I always share and try to really get across to people that play has to be simple, and the connection, the importance of relationships and connection, play, communication. So is there anything that you felt like has been helpful to you?
Yeah, well, I think one of the main things is how simple and straightforward it can be to like set up a sort of open-ended play or like a role play, or like I've been obviously following you for ages, so looking at messy play, how to set up tough trays and things like that, and how it can be simple, easy, straightforward. So not at all like all these complicated things you see on Instagram that can be really just for other parents, I think sometimes to show on Instagram. That's not about that. It's about the connection with your child. It's about getting them to problem solve by themselves as well. Their motor skills, the vocabulary, all these things that can come out just simply through play, and that it doesn't need to be pushed on them. It doesn't need to be structured. It doesn't need to be perfect. And also that idea of kind of setting something up, like whether it be water-based play or sand or whatever, some toys, a few scooping tools, something really simple, and then kind of standing back, watching them discover it for themselves, and then like seeing how happy that like Finn can, how confident he can be in himself, and how like the joy that he can get through just discovering it by himself. And it's also very easy for me because it's easy to step back and I don't have to be like obsessing over like that he's doing it wrong, because there is no wrong. So yeah, for me it's really just that simplicity um of play with my child.
Yeah. And do you think that helps you feel less guilty when you don't feel like you're not doing enough, knowing you don't need to do any more than that?
100%. It, like, for one thing, like we don't have a lot of toys, but I don't think we need a lot of toys. So I don't feel any guilt. First of all, I don't feel any guilt about having to buy him, that I'm not buying him enough. But more than that, I don't have guilt of throwing too much stuff at him. I have he has a few things that he loves, like the magnets or blocks. He's got a load of cars, and there's a few basic things that you can put together. It removes a lot of guilt because I feel like I've learned a lot from the videos that you've put out on Instagram, or just like little bits like that. I just really like the idea that I think a lot of where you come from is like a respect for the child. And I just love that kind of way of parenting, of like getting on their level, meeting them where they're at. Just, you don't have to throw all these activities and plastic toys and everything at them. You can just sit down. You can play with anything. You can play with a cardboard box. You can play with sticks and stones, literally, and sit down and chat and build things. And I love that simple way of parenting. And like from seeing your videos, there's just, it seems like a lot of science behind it, or a lot of expertise behind it, that removes any sort of guilt that maybe, for example, sticks and stones aren't good enough. Because I am on Instagram, like I do see all the amazing, I call them, like beige toys and beige playrooms kind of thing. You see all this perfect parenting, and what is actually important at the end of the day, like connecting with your child through the simplest way possible. Finn is actually just not at all interested in TV. Almost sometimes I think I prefer if he was a little bit, because sometimes I just want him to sit down, but he just loves to explore the world. He would be outside at all times if he could. And I think a lot of that has come through little things I've done from following you. Just the simplicity of it all. Like I think it's a lovely childhood, and stepping back and this playing with this dog. Yeah, I just think a lot of it just comes from a place of respect for the child. But I also think some of it is respect for the parent's time. So you don't have to be like, parents are busy. And what's that saying? Good is better than perfect, or done is better than perfect. Like, takes no time at all to just have a cardboard box and a scissors. Just a cardboard box and a scissors, but you're doing it, you're sitting there with your child, talking about what you could make, or and not making it for them.
Yeah, I really liked what you said about, the messages about respecting the child, but also respecting the time for yourself and how
Yeah.
important it is for you to look after yourself and mind yourself and prioritize your needs as well. Um, but how do you make sure you do that? It's really hard for us to, and that's something that I really want to push with the parenting connection.
Yeah, I just think that like social media and Instagram, like you can just get completely overwhelmed and bogged down with what you're not doing with your child. Like that you're not good enough, because we're just inundated. And honestly, I have unfollowed most parenting things on Instagram. It's just too much. But just the idea that it can be so simple and quick and easy for me to set something up, whether it's like a little plaything or whether it's bringing him along with me. He's helping me to empty the dishwasher. He's helping me to put on the laundry. We like get him involved in cooking a lot. So you can still, I mean, it's easier said than done.
Yeah, that's kind of the key of everything we said. It's just how important it is to keep things simple, to reduce stress, guilt, and just focus on what's really important, which is your relationship with your child.
Yeah. So keeping the actual activity simple, but also for me, kind of tuning out a lot of noise on the internet, or, there's a million ways to parent and there's a million opinions out there. But I don't know how I found you, but I just kind of connected with what you were saying very early on. And yeah, I just kind of tune a lot of other stuff out because of your message of just, yeah, keeping it simple and just connecting with your child. Again, I just keep saying the simplicity, but the simplicity of how you deliver your message and activities and little things to do over the summer. I was just looking at something like lunch boxes over the summer. Really simple. Like, yeah, it's very helpful, I suppose, when everyone is busy and you can get inundated with stuff.
Yeah, and acknowledging that we're all so busy. So there's no point adding more work and more pressure on our plates because they're already full.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. That's great. Thank you so much for sharing your experience. And, we're all learning together. But I think I always say parenting is like climbing a mountain. It's an ongoing process that never ends. But if we can climb it together, it's a lot easier.
Yeah, I love that. Well, thank you, because you've put a lot of stuff out there and people have been listening.
I hope so. I learned as well along the way. So we're all helping each other, and that's the beauty of it, that support to each other. I hope you like that story. I think it's a very powerful story, and we all have very powerful stories, but I'm very grateful that she shared with us, and I hope she inspires you to get back to basics, keep things simple, keep things in a way that they're comfortable to you, and that build that connection with your child, because that's all they need. You have it in you. You got this. And now, the final parenting toolkit, parenting playbook for today is how to say goodbye to your guilt. And I like to think of guilt as a little voice inside my head that's really annoying, and it tells me all the things that I do wrong every minute of the day. So it's about how to quiet that voice, how to talk to that voice and say, "You're wrong. That's not what I'm doing, because this is what I'm actually doing, and this is why I'm doing it," and be louder than that little voice in your head. So this is what I do. I switch from negative to positive. Guilt is very negative, and it's going to bring all these thoughts, and it's going to create all these thoughts in your head. I didn't spend enough time with them. I got too angry. They don't deserve that. I'm such a bad parent because I got so angry. That mom is better than me. She has it all together. It's my fault because I got distracted, and then that happened because I shouldn't have been distracted. I should have been watching. It's so selfish to go to the gym instead of doing the shopping. That's your guilt. That's all creating lots of guilt, and it's like a cycle. When you have these thoughts, you create guilt, and then guilt brings more of those thoughts. So it's about catching yourself, acknowledging those negative thoughts, and turning them into positive affirmations. So, for example, I didn't spend enough time with my children. You're catching this. You are acknowledging that that's your thought. Yes, that's a fact. Separate the story that you create in your head from the actual fact. And then realize that I actually got everything done. So we can play more tomorrow. So that's your affirmation. And just flip it to a positive affirmation, a positive sentence, and repeat that to yourself to replace that negative guilt. I got too angry. Yes, but I'm learning where my limits are, because being angry means you're reaching your limits, you're pushing your boundaries, and then something didn't meet your core values, and that's why you got angry and frustrated. So that allows you to learn where your limits, your boundaries are. So that's a positive thing because you're learning, and it's that piece of self-awareness. I can repair, and I know a hug will help. And tomorrow will be another day. So here's hope. Here's hope that you're not your actions, you're not your past, and tomorrow is going to be a better day for you and for everybody. That mom is better than me. She has it all together. I'm honest and genuine. So that's why if I feel like I haven't got my things together, and I am kind, and not all struggles are visible. It looks like she has it all together, but that's because right now I'm struggling with this, and she might struggle with something else that I can't see. So just be honest and compassionate to yourself. It's my fault because I got distracted, and that's why my child felt, and it's all my fault. Well, I was thinking about all the things that we need to do because I'm juggling so many things because I'm committed and I'm responsible. And if I didn't care and I'm just paying attention to my child 24/7 means I'm not paying attention to anything else. And that's not good at all. So I'm being responsible and I appreciate the good things that you're doing every single day. And the last one, it's so selfish to go to the gym instead of doing the shopping. But you can also think, after the gym, I'll be a calmer and better mom, and shopping can wait. In fact, we could go shopping together, and that would be our activity for the afternoon. And then you can go back to the video from yesterday, from the communication video, and see how you can make that shopping experience a lot more meaningful together. So remember to catch yourself, acknowledge your negative thinking, and try to turn it into a positive affirmation. Repeat that to yourself until you actually believe what you're saying. But for now, I want you to be proud of yourself. You're absolutely amazing. And if you've watched this far, honestly, you're showing up for yourself and for your children and for everyone around you. And this has a ripple effect. What you're doing changes the whole world, and you can do anything.